I love cookies. I love cookies. I love cookies. I love cookies.
Welcome to Cookies, the world's most influential basketball podcast. I am Ben Dietrich. Jordan Randle is on vacation, but Andrew Kuo, you already know it. He does not take days off. Andrew Kuo, how are you, buddy?
Fantastic, man. I feel incredible. It feels like I'm back in my prime, in my youth, in 2014, when we were walking around, the sun was out. People were doing the Schmurda dance.
Oh, the Shmoney dance?
The Shmoney dance. It is glorious, man. Who is on these streets now?
You can sense that Bobby is home. You can just sense it, you know? There's just a little uptick in the civic spirit here in New York City.
Big week in New York. We have an all-star, and we have Bobby back.
Welcome to Randall's Island.
Welcome to Randall's Island, everybody.
Well deserved, however, but we'll talk about all-star.
Not to tease the all-star talk.
Yeah, we'll talk about all-stars, the snubs,
Yeah,
the
but
BMM's
Schmurda's out,
handiwork. Schmurda's out.
and we've been angling. People have been fighting on his behalf for years because he kind of went away for some technicalities, and he's a rapper we all kind of really love, right?
Well, so for the uninitiated in Schmurda talk, Bobby was a rapper who came out in 2014. Some incredibly popular Brooklyn anthems that crossed over and became big hits. And he was roped up in his kind of cruise misdeeds, if you will. And a lot of rappers get screwed by these kind of like legal imbroglios, where he was more or less kind of liable via RICO charges and gang charges for things that people he knew did. And like there was a really long article, I don't know if it was GQ, but someone really broke down.
Yeah, it was.
I think it was, about kind of how much he got kind of screwed by this, but he never told.
Never snitched.
Never told.
Unlike some other young New York City rappers, but we'll also get into that. But like, I think about the last collection of New York City rappers that we've had, and Pop Smoke, rest in peace. Like street anthems all day. That first album was a big deal, and like we really love these two guys, like Schmurda and Pop Smoke, and like we see a lot of rappers like A$AP Rocky. Sorry, I'm having trouble talking today, but good thing we're doing a podcast.
I was going to say, good thing you're a professional podcaster.
Yes, welcome to Randall's Island, Ben. This is what it sounds like. But like we didn't really love Tekashi 6ix9ine, and he was a different story altogether. But like Schmurda's one that we were disappointed when he was like kind of taken away, and kind of disappointed every time we heard about people getting off on technicalities and people being pardoned. But like, what about Schmurda? Also, great branding, great name.
Well, one thing about Bobby was that his content was almost all gun talk. It was just guns and guns and guns. That was all he really talked about.
Yeah.
But he also had this theater kid energy. He was really lovable and danced around and was enthusiastic.
Oh,
and
interesting.
It was this cool dynamic where the content itself was just like, violent, but his mannerisms were like so engaging and adorable. I remember seeing him perform, I think at the Fool's Gold Day Off in Brooklyn, and he came out and everyone of course went nuts when he did his hits records. So I think he got a raw deal from the legal system, and 6 years, man. He was kind of on top. He had like three big songs.
Top. Yep.
And 6 years of his life. I think he was 20 when he went in.
It's insane how, hopefully he'll come out with the same energy, but we've seen all these guys come out. Like Meek is still Meek, but he's not quite the same. Like being in jail sucks, man.
Bobby came out and was picked up by Quavo of the Migos.
Yeah, that was cool.
And he was up at Clinton Correctional Facility, immortalized by Escape at Dannemora. Same.
I tried to
same
rewatch that.
prison.
It's hard to rewatch.
My upstate culture is not a costume.
The affectations don't work the second time, let me tell you.
No, not at all.
Yeah. First time around was fun. Yeah, for sure.
So Bobby was up there in that ecosystem. Flew back down to New York, saw his mom, was draped in Prada, looked very cool. So yeah,
Prada,
hope for the best.
ooh.
But whatever about his rap career, I hope he is successful, and I hope he has hit records. And I'm just glad he's out of prison.
Oh, yeah, all that. But I hope he gives us a summer block burner, right? Like, I want Shmurda to be back. He might be. We still love him, but it's weird, the time capsule of, 6 years. Like, Trump wasn't president. Like, someone had listed all the stuff that happened in 2014.
Yeah, like Julius Randle wasn't a Nick.
Yeah, Emmanuel Quickly wasn't born yet.
I mean, I will say, I would be fine if just Computers was the summer anthem. That would be fine. It's going to be Computers. Bobby's home. He doesn't need to make new tunes. We'll just go with Computers again.
In the summer of COVID, I mean, we had the first summer of COVID, which is kind of a shock. And the second time around, I think we're 1 year in. Do you think there is a summer anthem?
Well, I've declared all this over March 12th.
Oh, COVID is over on March 12th?
Yeah. Daylight
what's coming
savings
up?
is going to get to 7. The weather will get warmer. People will be vaccinated. So March 12th. Just circle that on your calendar. The end of COVID. So everything after that will be post-COVID.
PC, you're getting PC over here.
But
I'm with that.
you know the song Computers, of course.
Yep.
Is that a hit outside of New York? It might not be. I think people know it, but if you're not in New York or you weren't then, 2014, I think it's hard to know how big that record was.
I don't know. I asked myself that question about almost everything. Like, does this matter outside of New York? First, does this matter outside of my brain? No. And does it matter outside of New York? I don't know. So it's always shocking to see someone's name like Julius Randle on like a national list. I'm like, what? People have been digging in these crates?
Well, I mean, to be fair, I'm not trying to go down the path of saying you can get spearmint gum at a store in your corner, only in New York. But
Yeah.
I do think there are very few songs that are still like just regional hits when it comes to New York City. I think that still happens other places, but there's a few like Chinks Drugs, Coke Boys. Like that was like really a New York City hit.
Oh, that was a Dime Square anthem.
Yeah, and I think Computers is one of those. Like it's really big in New York, still is. Like you hear it. I heard it on the street 2 days ago, and I just don't know if it has traction anywhere else, but it might. But again, this is just a New York centrism of being here on Randall's Island.
I mean, if, rap super nerds maybe feel the same way about basketball nerds in the BMM. It's just like, yo, look at Atlanta. Look at Florida. Why are we always talking about New York? Why is it always New York rap and their style of cypher? Shout out to Tyler Johnson, Bookman superstar. But, I get it. Why are we always talking about New York? Because even creatively, the best stuff isn't coming out of here.
Well, it's just New York media, right? I mean, if Pooh Shiesty came out from New York City and dropped the mixtape he just did, which is really good, people in New York would be sweating it. Mm-hmm. But instead, it's a mention here or there. In Atlanta, I'm sure that is popping.
Oh, for sure, right. And the regionalization part...
Although he is from Memphis. Either way,
he?
whatever. Yeah, I think he is. The point being, obviously, New York City is a media fulcrum and pays attention to shit that's happening here.
Yeah. I mean, what do we have left in New York City? I just watched the Takeshi 6ix9ine Showtime documentary. It's called Supervillain. So it's not the first one that came out on Hulu, I believe. It's another one, but 3 times as long. Oh, and side note, if anyone has 4 hours to spare, rewatching the 2 Fire documentaries is incredible.
Would you watch any Tekashi 6ix9ine documentary that comes out?
It sounds like I would, but I was hesitant towards this new one, and it had me in 40 seconds. I think
I'm
he's
just trying to
pretty
wonder.
hilarious.
Yeah, what's your ceiling for Takashi Docs? Like, is it 2? Do you think you've extinguished that
No.
urge? Have you scratched that itch, or like if another one pops up, you're in?
If so, this one, the second one, the Showtime documentary was different in that they had more people talking about. They had his crew talking a little bit. So if HBO next week was like, we're announcing a 10-part Tekashi 6ix9ine documentary series with him in it, I'd be like, well, I'll be watching that for sure.
So this one includes Treyway, is what you're saying?
It includes everybody except his dudes that he put away, that he snitched on. So his DJ, his crew, the members of his label, his friends, his baby mama, which was a huge part of it. And she kind of frames the whole thing being like, I kind of didn't see it when I was into it, but he kind of like changed into this different thing entirely. And the whole premise of the documentary is like, if there's a truth teller rapper with Kendrick Lamar, whoever that, if there's a CEO, Jay-Z, all these rappers, Bobby Digital, the RZA being the mathematician, the chess player, then there has to be a supervillain. So Takeshi kind of identified that, and he ran into that. Whatever. It's a very casual way to talk about it, but the thing that made the documentary amazing was just his homies just being so disappointed, being like, first of all, I'm not even proud of my work with him. Second of all, what the hell? And it gets into race, and it gets into gentrification and all this stuff, and it's pretty awesome.
Reminds me of that, is it a John Update quote? Celebrity's
Updike,
the mask that eats into the face.
Yeah.
Always liked that one. Thought that was a good quote.
God, my favorite John Updike. Was it John? No, I'm getting confused. Who wrote the Bonfire of the Vanities? Tom Wolfe.
Tom Wolfe, yeah.
Right. That Simpsons thing where he always wears that white suit and he gets wine on it and he snaps away the white suit and there's another white suit.
Yeah, he used to pull up in I think it was a white Rolls Royce in his white suit.
Tom Wolfe. I mean, that was big money back then. People bought books.
I mean, excuse me. That's the kind of drip that you get when you purchase Cookies Hoops merch.
Oh, wow.
The modern equivalent
Of the Tom Wolfe uniform.
Look, man, I went out to get coffee. I was wearing the sky blue basketball hat.
Nice. Always a great look.
Barista said, "Where'd you get that hat?" And I said, "Well, let me tell you."
I made it. No, I mean, the interns made it. Well, I got it all twisted, man.
But I felt just with spring in the air and that kind of drip adorning my crown.
Julius Randle's and all.
I felt the collective. I felt a collective gasp from people as I walked down the street.
A good gasp, like, damn, he looks good.
Oh yeah. Just that, like, wow, drip is back.
Yeah, I mean, Takeshi has rainbow-colored hair and tattoos on his face, and you're wearing a yellow sweatshirt with a yellow basketball word embroidered onto it.
A collective gasp.
Hey,
You know what, Quo? I gotta say, there was a period a few years ago where we kind of looked and said, all that, PD Umo foppery, the haberdashery, it's over. It's never coming back. Now I'm like, kind of want to start dressing. It's been a year.
all right, okay.
Sitting
what
around
would you do?
in sweats.
March
only the
13th.
only the finest sweats, Cookies Hoops merch. But that said, like, don't you want to throw on like a 3-piece suit, really go out there and cut a rug?
No, absolutely not. When March 13th, is it March 13th when we're done with COVID?
Yeah, that's when we start like ballroom dancing and maybe even swing dancing.
Oh, that pretty amazing for some, I'm sure. Yeah, I will not be putting on a 3-piece suit, man. There's no hats happening. Baseball hats are not hats.
Okay. I agree with that. We're not going to bring back fedoras, but I just feel like we're going to see a real uptick in fashion consciousness when people are back around in public. Like, there will be talk of, I'm just gonna keep wearing sweats wherever, and people will do that. Cool. Live your best sweat life. But I do think people have worn the same shirt, eating over the sink, not bathing for weeks, and they're gonna want to put on that 3-piece suit.
Well, those people would say, if they existed, they're comfortable in their own sweats that say basketball on them. Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, I don't know if we're going to see some. I'm enjoying all these fit pics for sure. Like, that is one of my favorite things to look on Instagram. But I don't really. Is it braggy? Is it braggy to roll out in like a dapper outfit?
I mean, I don't really know about suiting. I'm more thinking of, it's been so dismal and so interior based that when something is going on, people are just going to want to wear stuff. Like, you've got these things in your closet. You're either totally sick of the shit you've been wearing, you've been neglecting some of your drippiest items, or you're going to want to get some new stuff. So I think we're going to see it pop off.
I think it's new stuff, right? Because I think my wardrobe, and I want to say everyone's wardrobe maybe thinks in the same way. As soon as I stop thinking about something, like the whole magic of an item is gone. Never with Cookies Hoop Stuffs, which is eternal, but other stuff.
Well, the Cookies Hoop stuff kind of stays like in your brain at all times. It's just always there, pulsing, and kind of almost like a guardian angel.
I don't take showers. I just remove one layer of Cookies Hoops merch for the next cleaner layer, like an onion. But like I had some nice T-shirts that I bought that I was really psyched on, and some of them say Emmanuel quickly on the back, and I was like, yo, I'm gonna rock the hell out of this on March 13th. And now I'm looking at it, I'm like, that idea is old. That idea is played. I'm gonna rock something new, and who knows what that'll be. But my wardrobe is boring itself.
Well, but let me give you a personal anecdote. This happened, I'm gonna say 45 minutes ago. So it's very fresh.
Wow.
It's very fresh in my mind.
Breaking.
I'm gonna try to bring it back. Conjure that feeling. I went into my closet and I said, it's spring. I gotta start dressing. I got to.
What?
I pulled out this shirt. It had long sleeves, and yet it was not a Cookies long sleeve tee.
You lost
it. I know. It had an opening down the front, and these small, like kind of hard circles used to clasp the two sides together.
Oh, I've seen you wear this. This is a fashion thing that you acquired.
I had not put on a button-down shirt.
Oh, I was thinking about a different thing that you've seen. I wear button-down shirts all the time.
Well, I don't know what you're doing over there. Over the sink, button-down shirts. So many mixed messages. I had not buttoned a shirt in like a year. It's like, damn, this is crazy. This technology. So I'm saying there's stuff in the closet that can see light of day.
Yeah. I had found kind of a personal life hack maybe 2 years ago where I decided my resting place was a specific shirt that J. Crew made.
Like your grave?
What do you mean?
Like your final resting place?
No. Did I say grave?
No, you said final, my resting place. And I was like...
Oh, yeah, my resting place with, like, the way water rests, like
bury me
the water level. Yeah,
bury me in gingham.
Kind of. And it was a shirt at J. Crew, size triple XL or double XL that was always on sale for like $7. And like, okay, so I have this new thing where aside from size small, any size works on anybody. So like, obviously if you don't fit into a medium, it looks like a small, but also that works too. Like, what size t-shirt are you? I'm like, it doesn't matter. If it's triple X or medium, I can wear it. And I was just hunting for bargains, and I found these like $7 clearance shirts, and I just bought like 12 of them, and I just wear them they look the same. You've seen me in them. They're just like these button-down shirts.
Yeah,
so
they have
I've been wearing those.
Yeah, they have those nice like thin blue stripes down them. Very classic look. Is that a Bengal stripe?
I don't know, but sure.
I'm gonna say yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna say yes. Yeah, so I don't know. I've been wearing those, but they're not too dissimilar from a sweatshirt.
I think I guess it was Bill Gates who brought it to popularity, just wearing the same thing all the time, and then it became kind of a thing to do for
Steve
people
Jobs.
I guess it was Steve Jobs, yeah. No, it was not Bill Gates. It was Steve Jobs, yeah. But other people started saying, "Oh, I only wear the same thing every day. That way, like, my brain doesn't have to waste time on picking out a different shirt." And I can keep that mental endurance for more important tasks. It kind of became the tech world's or sort of business world's version of being like
a lunch pail
of saying like I don't write bars.
Yeah.
Like I'm not. Yeah. I don't write my lyrics down. Yeah. And like everyone started doing it.
Yeah.
I kind of hate that shit.
I like it, but only because I know my personality, and I find anywhere to cut anxiety is beneficial, and sometimes I miss, but it's not like still rocking the hokas, like it's not uniform like your boy Tom Wolfe or Joseph Boys or something like that,
I guess where I run into problems with it is that I get the idea, makes sense, and you could look at even well-known fashion designers who just like every day wear like a white V-neck T-shirt, like Prabal Gurung, great,
Bill
cool.
Cunningham,
your thing.
The blue vest.
Yeah, all good. But at the same time, I feel like it's one of those things that became a signifier for people in those kind of industries, like tech and finance and idea men, where it made up for the fact that they couldn't dress for shit.
Yeah, I mean, though, at some point, I feel like people grasp at things, and I love Silicon Valley so much, that show on HBO, and everyone had like the classic, the vest, like the Patagonia vest, and I love those things and all that, but as with basketball players, like context is everything, right? And like I agree, like if I was in Silicon Valley and worked in one of those companies, I'd probably like assimilate quicker than I probably wouldn't be wearing Hokas and be dripped out in cookies, timeless cookies merch, the Bullies 2021. I probably wouldn't be wearing that, right?
I mean, who can even say, right?
Yeah, I think the self-justification is annoying. You're right. Like so when someone's like, I am too busy to actually think about this gratuitous thing like self-expression.
It's like, so what do? I'm building a dating app. Like, all right. Yeah. Like, cool, do your thing, but you don't need to just say, yeah, I wear a black vest every single day because like my brain power is too important.
And I never like to claim that, even though I like to wear the same things a lot. And I shift. There was a time where I wore armored Nick shorts to the bar. No longer, but for maybe 3 or 4 rock blocks, summers, that's all I did. I didn't have to think about it. But the thing with like tech people or people like me who wear the same thing is like, well, why don't you shift and wear this thing, slightly skinnier jeans every day? I'm like, hells no. It has to be a specific fucking thing.
Look, I think people finding their look and being comfortable is super important. I'm just saying it also is, it's kind of a crutch in the situation of the people we're talking about. Mm-hmm. If like Rick Owens says, I'm just going to wear the same thing every day, you're like, dude, respect. Your aesthetic isn't, you're Rick Owens.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you got it. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Whatever. I'm just griping about technology. You know me.
It's all good, but yeah, no, that's a thing that I love. Those vests, like in Silicon Valley, when there was like character after character of just in the same clothes. I thought bootcut jeans, man.
I mean, the D-Ray vest was a real move.
Yeah. Oh, how are you feeling about puffers these days? We're still doing those, right?
Yeah, like puffers. We're going North Face.
I do North Face, but I've been doing like a no-name brand. I forget. I think it's London Fog, something with just like without the North Face logo. But I do like North Face, but I don't like the color selection they have in the last few seasons.
What do you?
They only have like
for?
5 or 6. I'm looking for something that isn't immediately identifiable as a season, so I can wear it for like 5 years. But like, I guess I should go vintage.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could just go and
I have a couple.
Get something from the '90s.
Yeah, I like the colors. Maybe I don't like the black top. You know how the second half has that black signature fabric. I don't know. I love North Face though.
I don't even know why we're talking about North Face. Like, spring is here, winter's over, COVID's done as of March 12th.
What's gonna okay? So let's say you're not gonna wear 3-piece suits or fedoras. What's the Ben Dietrich drip this season?
I don't even really want to give it away.
Oh,
I'm just going to say
fair.
this. Riding pants.
Nice. Okay.
I mean, this is real talk. This is what you get for being a premium Spotify. You get this first.
You get the riding talk takes first, right?
Riding pants. Have like incredible pleats. I'm talking pleats that go all the way up.
Okay, so you have your superstar. What's the supporting cast?
Cookies merch.
That was a test and you passed.
Well, so this is what's happening in New York, and you always get that here on Randall's Island, the Julius Randle podcast. You're always hanging out in Times Square as
Love it.
Times Square royalty. Have you been paying attention at all to the discussions around the free newspaper, The Drunken Canal?
New Times Square media, man. It's popping. It's like, is Times Square going to secede from Manhattan, from Randall's Island? Only time will tell. But there has been a bubbling up of these newspapers chronicling the lives of the people who hang out on these few blocks. And I think it's kind of cool, man. I don't know. Is there any goss to talk about?
Well, my understanding is that they've only had 4 issues. I've seen it floating. I've only seen it. I have not seen a hard copy of it because I am not royalty in Times Square like you are. But I believe they've had 4 copies. It's like a newspaper. It's, as you said, hyper local. It's like, here's a shout out to Ivan from Clandestino. It kind of talks about that little intersection of Chinatown, Lower East Side, as if it's a village. Kind of has almost a zine mentality in that way. It's 2 young women, I want to say early 20s, and it has that kind of enthusiasm for being new in New York. And I don't know where they're from. They might be natives, but it's that idea that New York is amazing. And when you get older and crusty like us, sometimes you get jaded towards people's early experiences in New York. And I think that's what's fun about it, is that it has that exuberance for being young in New York and experiencing things that you don't really get from people once they basically reach 30.
Yeah, it's always like, I remember 2014 when Shmurda was free. Like, people were into cassette tapes, and young people like 18, 19, 20, 21, and it was a whole scene, not only in like garage rock music, but electronic music and dance music and ambient music. And I felt like, as an old head, I was like, oh, we did those things. Those are really nice objects, but they're flawed because they wear out and you have to fast forward through them, and no one has a tape player. And I loved the whole scene. And then when I tried to enter it, I was like, but I'm holding a cassette. It's like, can I download this somewhere? It's like, well, yeah, we have, like videos on YouTube sometimes, and that would be easier. And I love media. I cut my teeth making zines in Manhattan, like as I was 14 years old, just running around trying to interview bands, 15, and to see a newspaper is awesome in 2021. I really love it, but I'm so old that I'm just like, oh, there's so much paper used on this. Like, is everyone archiving this? I think it's going to age really, really well. But in the moment, I found myself shocked that a physical thing existed like this.
One thing that they seem to be very cognizant of, and it's intentional, is a lack of social media presence. And I think that is a clear response to Instagram and to Twitter and to everything being immediately available online for discussion, digesting, etc. And it does make me want to go back to that era a bit, when you could pick up the Village Voice or the New York Press, and they were just kind of on the corner, and you'd grab them out of a box, like when you jumped on the train, and you'd read this like tactile but disposable pamphlet newspaper on the, I don't know, I think there is something very appealing about it being tactile.
Yo, we're such old heads, but remember when the Village Voice And I was a very young man when this was happening, but I do remember when the Village Voice would drop and people would be waiting at drop spots because if you were looking for an apartment, if you wanted tickets for an upcoming Beastie Boys show at Roseland, if you wanted to get up on an album review, whatever, you were just waiting for that stuff. Oh, job listings, Jesus. I remember my friends who needed gigs would just wait for the Village Voice to drop and go through the classifieds and like immediately start calling people. It was wild. It was like a way that New York City kind of like functioned and clicked a little bit that it just feels like a zillion years ago, like the Shmurda dance.
Anyway, I'm glad to see that there are young people picking up where you have left off.
Hey man, all I do is rattle the cages of the interns, give them less gruel, and put more locks on their doors.
I hope Tiger Woods is all right. I know that's a very, very awkward segue, but your man Tiger involved in a one car accident, rolled it over a couple times,
Asian
fucked up
Alliance.
his legs. I did not watch the Tiger doc. I've kind of been out of the current resurgence of Tiger Woods' interest, but again, I hope the man is all right. Are you a Tiger Woods guy?
No, I'm becoming more of a Tiger Woods guy, but in the moment, I found his kind of rapport with the media just like not something I was interested in. I don't really care about golf, to be honest. I didn't grow up around people who cared about golf or played golf, so it's something I was always like, he is the man. That Nike commercial is incredible. I like the logo, I like the products, but like I don't even know what I'm doing here.
Well, yeah, there was this idea that like Tiger Woods made us all care about golf, and you look back and you think, I never cared about golf.
Well, to be fair, I cared about it in the way where it was the era of SportsCenter, so I'd be like, did Tiger win or what? Is he gonna catch this old white guy or what? And like that's more than I care about golf now. That's for sure.
Oh, no doubt. It was true that he made us care about golf, but it was also only in a Tiger Woods capacity. Like, did this guy who's amazing and a phenomenon and of like mixed racial heritage who's super young, did he win? Oh,
Yeah.
He did. That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, he lost. Ooh, sucks.
I was a Tiger casual, man. I was extremely that. And right, if there was like a champion chess player right now that demolished all the computers, I'd be like, did he beat the last computer? But I don't really know strategy or what I'm looking at, I doubt I'd even watch a match.
Have you golfed?
I've been to the West Side Highway and hit balls into the net. That's about it. I've never been on a golf course in my life, like on the grass.
Driving a range is sort of fun.
Oh, I enjoy it. There's nothing wrong. I like batting cages, driving ranges. All that stuff is fun. I've never played the game of golf.
I've only done pitch and putt.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's basically a shortened course where
Yeah.
you kind of, you hit off a tee and then you kind of try to bat it towards the towards the cup in various stages. I mean, it's good if you were bad at golf.
Yeah, that sounds fun, man. I mean,
Yeah, you drink a
miniature
bunch of
golf is
beer.
good.
You drink a bunch of beers.
Yeah.
You hit the ball around. It was great. But I couldn't name a golfer right now. I don't think.
Rory Spieth, Phil Mickelson is old now. There's all these young bucks. But which is interesting, right? Because I just watched Naomi Osaka destroy at the Australian Open, and she's kind of amazing, right? Like she is another once in a lifetime, top 5 once in a lifetime athletes, right? And I think she may be Luka Doncic of that world, but she can't get any sort of Luka Doncic shine because her LeBron James exists too in Serena Williams. As long as Serena Williams is on the court, it's hard to talk about anything new, and I think that's what happens in golf. Tiger Woods is still there, and he was still kind of trying to play the Masters, I believe. And it's hard to talk about these new golfers because the god is still present, right?
I'm asking you a question that you probably cannot answer. I mean, what else is new?
What else?
But why did Tiger stop being great?
Oh, injuries.
No, I legitimately don't know.
Yeah, this is where I get stony. Injuries, back surgeries, knee surgeries. He is no longer like a spry guy. He like kind of walks like a man who has had many surgeries. And this is the stony part is I think his mental kind of slipped, and we're all about mental self-care here at Cookies Hoops, except for the interns. And I think he slid so far in a way that we're just finally kind of grasping for the second time. I think the accident was probably, it seems like, as far as I know, just a mistake. Like, he was going a little fast, and that area on the street, a road, is a problem area, according to local officials. Like, it's kind of dicey, and anything can happen to anybody. So it's not an indication of Tiger's mental state or his wherewithal.
Right. We all jumped to the conclusion that this was because of painkillers, or as you said, like abuse of painkillers, or something was going on. Like it could have just been a car accident. Yeah,
and that's what it seems like is happening to up until now. But to answer your question, it's physical injury that led to mental injury.
There's something about him and his affairs, which I know were part of the documentary. Mm-hmm. He has a weird peak of incredible stardom and corniness that I think really takes a toll on your philandering.
Oh. Go on.
Like, you're too famous to slide into anyone's DMs. You're Tiger fucking Woods. Like, you can't just hit someone up. You're kind of only allowed to have affairs with, like, waitresses. People who you just kind of run across.
Like, you're not J.R. Smith, who, offers the pipe to random people and can live to tell the tale. You're Tiger Woods famous over here.
That's what I'm saying. Tiger Woods is apparently cheating on his wife with an Instagram model. Like, no. It's got to be waitresses and, like prostitutes.
But he
like
had
not. I don't know the details of his, affairs. I'm just saying, it's a weird combo of to be that wealthy, that famous, and like you can't really have a good high profile affair.
Yes. He had very high profile girlfriends, like Lindsey Vonn, I believe they dated for a while.
You can date. I'm really talking about mistresses.
Yeah, it's tough to tell, right? Like, Tiger is one of the most interesting celebrities we've ever seen, and it seems like he had his wife. I believe he was married to like this blonde, beautiful model. I think she was a model.
I believe she was a Swede.
Yeah, she has
or Danish, something like that.
Helen Nottingham, is that her name? I forget.
Might be Icelandic.
Yeah, and they have a family together. And he dated Lindsey Vonn, and these are all very high-profile looking people. And then you hear about like the affairs he had with like people who work in the industry and TGIF.
That's what I mean.
Waitresses, but like I overuse this word a lot, but there's a melancholy there that's like so heavy, right? It's just like it just screams of loneliness. Like
that's kind of what I'm pinning down here.
Yeah,
that like he's Tiger Woods. Mm-hmm. It's not like turns out that he's been hooking up with a Kardashian. Like no.
Right.
It's like
he's
the woman
Travis
who works at like the car detailing place where he took his Hyundai.
Well, and
no disrespect to those women.
Honda.
I'm just
Hyundais,
saying for it being Tiger Woods, like it seems like there's a sadness and a loneliness. I think you nailed it.
And I think, and of course I only think about this because I grew up with an Asian mother, but a part of that documentary, a big part of it was the influence of his parents, and he misses his father quite a bit. But his mother being a huge influence on his life, and you can attribute to his success to his mother, who was, no simulation talk, but like a tiger mom, right? And I also was raised by a tiger mom who was awesome, but like the standards for doing stuff, she was like, put up more zines, interview more bands, go to New York City more, listen to more rap music.
Get to Randall's Island right now.
I was there. I am there. I'm there always. But I think the demands that that generation and that kind of person that the book was based on is like, it should not be forgotten here. And I think the desperation Tiger may feel when he's like sitting at like a Sizzler in the middle of wherever city, no disrespect to any cities out there, like the demands of his life and his success that he's felt, there's no release to that, right?
It's the most famous golfer of all time, probably the most successful monetarily of all time.
Maybe the best athlete in his game of all time. We're talking Michael Jordan shit, right?
Yeah, it's Tiger Woods, and he's kind of living the existence in some ways of like a traveling salesman, like a stand-up comic from the 1980s.
Yeah. And like, as we're getting wise to now, all at the same time, is like you could look at Tiger Woods and be like, well, you're a champion, you've done it, and you're rich beyond belief, and you will go up into the rafters of any building. But he's just like a half black, half Asian guy sitting in a bar drinking a beer, and he's just like, but I'm the same dude. It's just like super Shakespearean and crazy, but I don't think his story will ever be boring. The inability to escape his own zone is kind of incredible.
All very different people, but there is something along the lines of like Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson, Tiger Woods. It's a level of celebrity that seems the people who reached it in that era are kind of different from the ones today. I don't know if it's the social media element acclimated people earlier. It's very hard to say that they're not dealing with it in similar traumatic ways. Who can say, right? But I don't know. I think about those like just mega celebrities of like the late 80s, the early 90s.
Yo, Britney Spears.
Great example.
Yeah.
Celebrity just seems a little more palatable today for some reason.
I think we're like, I don't know, we're moving in this parallel zones. Like, we're getting worse and we're getting better always, right? Everything is accelerated, the bad parts and the good parts. I think we can finally look back at someone like Tiger Woods and Britney Spears and be like, oh damn, we just did not treat them with enough care, like at all. We did not enjoy them and take care of them, you know? But at the same time, you have the equal and opposite reaction. Maybe they're not parallel, they're going in opposite directions. It's like the way we just destroy these things casually is also alarming. So I don't know what we do with someone like LeBron James, where he misses a long-range shot this week and loses a game without his dude Anthony Davis, and all of a sudden it's like LeBrick, LeBust, he's the worst. You know, how dare people call him the GOAT? And I'm like, yo, what are we doing? But I guess we're doing everything at the same time, right?
Could it also be that the constant stream of information, of scandal, of content dilutes the effect on, like, say, one individual, say like a Britney Spears, where it's just all day, every day. And now there's just so much stuff that people just don't care as much.
That might be true too. And, you know, 10 years ago we were grasping at hot takes, and a hot take would kind of put wind in some sails. But now it just like, everyone's should have one, and they got one, and we know of them all, and we kind of have to take the average of them, you know?
I'm thinking about my mom saying that when she grew up in a small town, the most interesting thing that happened every day was the mail arriving. And I'm like, I guess a lot of people live like that at some point in their lives. We're like, mail is here. Sick.
Not to be a weirdo, but when I was doing that zine, my P.O. box was my life. Like, if I got a record a couple weeks before it came out, if I got a letter from somebody who answered some interview questions, like, I did not love the phone that much. So yeah, the mail was a huge part of my life.
I'm thinking like, these are parts of people's lives, like, oh, the mail is here, and now it's like, let me look at my phone.
Oh my God.
This is not boomery. I'm saying, yo, you can be entertained by news stuff constantly on your phone. Oh, here's some new album, new information, new news story, new meme. Like there's a constant stream. So like you see Affleck picking up some Dunkin' Donuts, you laugh at it, you move on.
He's doing a thing. Yeah.
Sure. Apparently he's being paid by Dunkin' Donuts. Someone alleges.
That's a Boston company, right? It is, right?
It is, and it would make a lot of sense. I think he is doing a thing. But 20 years ago, the paparazzi hounding Affleck, humiliating him with donut photos. You might hear about that as a traumatic thing, and now you're like, well, whatever, man. It's just a meme. It's funny. Who cares?
Yeah.
You know. But speaking of Asians being injured.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
Your man,
my man, Yuta
Watanabe, dunked on brutally by Anthony Edwards.
By the vibe god, Anthony Edwards, who is the most lovable dude.
He's very cool.
Yeah.
But this incredible dunk, maybe the dunk of the year. He really rose up. It looked like about 2 feet above the rim.
That was cool. It was inhuman.
With his arm almost like straight forward. It was really cool.
And Yuta put in effort and got, if posters existed, he got posterized.
Yeah, he got the worst of it. But so on basketball Twitter, which has been grousing a lot about too many nerds, that people have lost like the thrill of the game. The arguments are just stat based. Nate Duncan, who is a specifically nerdy stat-based analytics guy. He's a podcaster, does live stream, but that's his thing. That is
awesome.
His bread and butter.
Yeah.
He's a stat guy, stat god. He put up a tweet about the dunk and pointed out that Anthony Edwards was not playing well, that he'd scored only 7 points in 30 minutes, or whatever the point was.
He's having a terrible game. Yeah,
he's playing poorly. But in turn, he was now turned into Yuta Watanabe. And the collective forces of basketball Twitter started windmilling all over him as, wow, look at this joyless dork. Here is everything that's wrong with basketball Twitter. Now, you kind of put up a similar tweet the next day. But you did not get dunked on. How did you escape the fate of Nate Duncan?
Well, Nate Duncan is real and famous and good at his job. I am kind of half-assed and tweet about things that I may or may not even care about, right? Like, I go in there, I don't want it. I want something, but it's not enough of anything.
Well, you put that up, and I was like, oh, shit, red alert. Quo, are you not aware of what happened last night to Nate Duncan? And you're like, he didn't have a good game. And I was like, Quo, maybe just play this off. It's satire. You're making fun of Nate Duncan. Like, bail on this. Abort. Don't delete. That'll be an admission of error. Like, just play it off.
I was annoyingly nonchalant about it. I think I was, like, making eggs, too. And I was like, that may be a good point, but I don't feel anything about this. I was like Milhouse's dad, like, can I borrow a feeling, right? And then I went back and looked at the ire that Nate Duncan got, and I was like, oh, I'm definitely leaving this post up. For sure.
Yeah, the interns all hit me on like our special emergency phone.
Yeah.
That just rings with the Cookies theme song.
Yeah. I don't think you follow someone like Nate Duncan for like fire emojis. I mean, I'm sure he's dropped a couple fire emojis in his life. And maybe to yell at the horse for being a horse or like navy blue for being blue is weird. But sure, like, we can get angry at the color yellow, like, that's the spice of life, right? But that wasn't supposed to be loaded. But I think, like, being angry at Nate Duncan is fun, and I don't think he cared. I don't
know if anger was the right word. Yeah. It was definitely mockery. And on one hand, I get it. Like, you see this great, incredible jam, a real rim-rocking slam jam.
Yeah. And
your response is, yes, but he's not having a good game, is joyless. No doubt. Like, it is an unlikable response to it.
Yeah, it's contrarian, but also if you like read his second tweet, he is like, we need contrarians in this world, or else we have mush, right?
Is it contrarian or just being a killjoy though?
So obviously I'm on his side because his tweet just doesn't have any weight. It doesn't matter quite as much. But like, I don't think he's being a killjoy because he just put some extra spice in this. He is the spice of this whole thing. Because if everyone's like fire, 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 I think shout out to Cookie Soup's merch. Beavis and Butthead. I think he is the one that gave it life. If there's no villain, there's no nothing. So if we're all just like, that was incredible, like that was pretty incredible. I don't even think it's the best dunk of the year, whatever. But it's up there. It could be. It was amazing. It was thunderous. But I think him doing that made everyone activate, and of course foul people, and no one likes a mocking person. So those people are annoying. But you just have to avoid them, and they're like 2 followers.
Yeah, I had kind of mixed feelings about it. I thought his take was, as I said, annoying and
Sure.
kind of bloodless. Like, who
That's what we
cares,
love.
dude?
Yeah.
Like, who cares? We're just watching this dunk and pointing out that he's not having a good scoring game is kind of besides the point. But it didn't bother me. I didn't look at it and say, "This fuck, this goddamn fuck." When I first saw it, I didn't freak out or be like, "Oh my god!" I just thought, well, yeah, okay. I just kept scrolling.
Yeah.
It didn't react to me.
Yeah.
And then I saw the response, and there was definitely a lot of people who were really excited about jamming on him because it showed that they weren't that they weren't dorks. Like there's a performative element to being like, look at the dork who isn't me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, fair, right? Like in the larger scheme of things, I think this is like cool for Nate Duncan because, like, I don't know, it's nice to. This is what we're doing on Twitter, right? And this may not be the discussion he wants to have, but like we are all involved in this. And I thought an aspect of the reaction to this dunk was kind of course, it's just who I am, and we care about what we care about, right? But like dunking on an Asian dude is like especially satisfying for, I guess, some people. And
in the NBA, though, I don't know if that's true or not.
It's hard to tell. I'm definitely projecting. I'm saying 100% I'm projecting my own life experiences onto this. But like Asian men don't really get a lot of respect or credit at all, Andrew Yang. And I think Watanabe was a story because, previously I think a larger media outlet, not the BMM, was just like, yo, there's an Asian guy playing in the NBA, and like it was his dream in Japan and he made it. He's kind of in the rotation. And I thought that was pretty interesting. Now imagine if he scored like 25 points a game for like 2 months in New York City and hit daggers, game winners. Like, it just makes it kind of surreal. But, he's there and we're aware of it. And then he gets viciously dunked on by like a vibe god. So it all kind of worked out where if you wanted to drop 1 million fire emojis, like no one was going to fight you on it. And if someone dared to do it, you knew exactly what to do.
I mean, I thought the Asian element was more people being kind of surprised and not knowing who he was. I think that was part of it too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because when people get jammed on, I'm thinking of like, what's your guy? Brandon
Knight. Was
Brandon,
DeAndre Jordan, right?
Yeah, Brandon Knight. It was like coughing emojis. He was roasted like into oblivion. Same with Jason Terry after LeBron dunked on him. Like being a dunk victim is a thing.
Uh-huh.
And I felt with Yuta, it was more that like, wait, who's that dude? Because
maybe
there was an Asian guy. That was part of it. But I don't know if there's a joy about yamming on an Asian at this point.
Again, it's just my personal projection for sure, and I'm not even claiming that, but it was unfortunate. I was like, I think our buddy Pablo, reacted how I reacted. I was like, no, not Yuta, not anyone but him.
I mean, you're not wrong in some ways, though. I mean, one of my buddies who went to an Ivy League school said that when him and his boys would play in the gym, they would be like, did you catch any DOAs? Like dunks on Asians.
I mean,
like it was a noticeable thing at their school. Like they paid attention to dunks on Asians. So like,
you don't have to tell me I am Asian.
Wrong. You're not wrong.
I am Asian, Ben. So I've lived this life, and You've
never been yammed on.
No
one has dunked on a 6'6" Quo.
Yeah, especially with pizza in my pockets, with a healthy mental attitude. But I thought it was an awesome dunk. I think the reaction behind it was fun. I honestly I love Nate Duncan dropping that take because he's the analytical guy, right? He's the guy who's like, well, the shot went in, but Lillard shot a dumb shot, but it went in, so we're happy. We got the best moment. I'm not denying that. But that was a bad shot, guys, and that was
Right.
the debate then, you know.
The two winners from this dunk are Anthony Edwards and Nate Duncan.
Yes, exactly. It's cool. I think
He said something completely on brand for himself,
Yeah.
and was momentarily the subject of Twitter and everyone. Even if it was a roasting thing, he wasn't being roasted for anything other than doing what he always does.
Yeah, and it's funny to call someone like him joyless. And I've watched his like YouTube channel sometimes, and I definitely follow him on Twitter. I'm like, this guy has plenty of joy. Trust me, this guy loves basketball. He's
Yeah,
like,
no, I mean, I think I've seen videos of him playing ball, and he looks like he can hoop.
yeah, and he's like sitting on his couches watching games, like on a live stream in like throwback jerseys with matching hats. I'm like, this guy is someone I like. Like, it seems like he's really into basketball.
That's always the funniest claim towards people who bring up numbers. Like, you don't watch the games. You don't know the sport. It's like, man, if you like this sport enough to be digging into numbers all the time, I'm pretty sure you watch the sport. Like, if you are obsessive with it and you're streaming and you're wearing, a throwback, I don't know, Clyde Drexler jersey,
Yeah.
you probably have seen a lot of hoops.
I went on a Knicks tweet storm yesterday for fun. Get some stuff off my chest on Randall's Island for sure. And someone accused me of just watching games on Twitter and never actually seeing plays. And I'm like, not only do I watch all the Knicks games, I write down Clyde quotes and then I rewatch them the next morning with a cup of tea, just so I can see it again with like a fresh lens. Like, I love this team, but we're in quarantine. We're all watching everything. Everyone's like a super fan at this point, right?
That's the thing that's so bizarre about the kind of the lingering, do you even watch the games? Is that everyone watches fucking everything.
We're watching everything for sure.
I have 3 separate text chains and everyone's just watching all the games constantly. It's like, I got like 17 messages about Luka Doncic's shots from like 3 different text chains. Just dude, whoa, Luka. Like, everyone's watching.
Yeah, and then I'm switching the channel, being like, can I catch the replay? We are all watching. But what does it mean when someone says, do you even watch the games, bro? This is like, it's kind of a dismissal that a lot of people feel, right? Like, I'm sure Nate Duncan has felt this his entire life, and he's just like sitting there with his Dominique Wilkins throwback, being like, I don't know what I need to prove to you.
Just there in his full Tree Rollins warm-up suit. Like, I'm watching the games. You're watching me watch the games.
This is a Kevin Willis away jersey, man. And like, he breaks down plays for a living. I'm like, I don't know. Do coaches even watch the games?
I'm literally sitting next to Mookie Blaylock.
Right. I am on Randall's Island, man. I've grown up on Randall's Island.
So they also announced the All-Star reserves, and that caused a little bit of consternation on
fun.
the internet yesterday.
Super fun.
No major surprises except for 2 notable snubs, one from the East and one from the West, I would say. On the Eastern team, Trae Young, who's averaging something like 28 and 9 along those lines,
He's really good.
he was snubbed. And then the other one in the West that people regarded as a snub was Devin Booker. But let's talk about the East for a second.
Bukatin. Yeah. Okay.
Was Trae Young a snub?
Yeah, he's awesome, but who are you going to take off that team? These 2 teams are awesome. There's not a single player on any of these 2 rosters that doesn't belong there.
Disagree.
Oh, okay. I'm guess. I mean, people have been calling out Zion. I think Zion's a beast. He should be there. Vucevic, I think, is an MVP candidate. He deserves to be there. People call out Ben Simmons just because they hate him. I think he should be a starter. Randle is debatable, but I think Trae Young deserves to be there. But who are you going to take off, Ben?
Well, I'm thinking of two guys from a losing team beneath 500, and you get two guys.
Yeah,
like
but
you don't even have a winning record.
But Trae Young is like, and Randle are also below 500.
Yeah, but that's one guy.
Trae
Young is so much better.
He's having a phenomenal season.
He's so much better. He's just a different tier than Jaylen Brown and
I kind of agree with this.
And Jason Tatum.
Yeah,
I know he's not a good defensive player, but one of the things
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
if you look at how good Atlanta is when Trae is on the court, they're a good team.
He's dope. Yeah.
They're good. It's not some hollow numbers and the team is ass. They're pretty good. They're like a playoff team when he's on the court, and they're just repugnant when he sits. He's carrying that team to being decent. And I don't even like watching Trae play. I find him really annoying. He's a little grifter. He's even more obnoxious in my mind than Harden in how he seeks fouls. He's an incredible flopper, but I think he's gifted, and I'm a fan. The reason I think I dislike him is I usually watch him when he's going against a team that I like better than the Hawks. So I find his
like
antics, the Knicks, the Sixers, whoever.
Yeah.
Like I'm never really rooting for the Hawks too much.
Oh yeah, I love the Hawks. You know, I'm a irrational John Collins stan, but I understand that he's not in the tier of any of these guys. But Trae Young to me is. But I love Steph Curry. Like I love these little trolls. Trae Young is awesome, and it's the only time I've ever been wrong about anything. I didn't value him in the draft that much, but I am wrong, and he's awesome, and I'm glad I'm wrong. And Jaylen Brown. Okay, it's annoying that they have two Jamesons, right? And not to get into another Celtics talk, but like it's all this, they're below 500, and it's like the coach, the supporting cast, injuries, Kemba Walker. It's the redundancy of those two. If the Celtics don't see that the problem is with their two good players, they're never going to fix it. That said, those two players are playing pretty well.
I think they're playing pretty well. I just don't think either of them is even comparable to Trae Young in terms of being like an offensive juggernaut. Like we can look at the numbers; it's just not comparable. I think Jaylen Brown is having.
I think it's comparable. Their advanced stats are comparable.
But Jaylen Brown, even if we're just talking about scoring, that's it. We're just talking scoring. Fuck advanced stats. Those are Tatum based. Fuck advanced stats.
Yeah, but in any metric you can compare in a vacuum, right? Whatever. I mean,
I'm talking about the obvious ones. I'm talking about scoring and scoring efficiency. I'm talking about passing. I'm talking about being an offensive creator. Jaylen Brown is an okay defensive player. He's pretty good. He's okay. Tatum, I would say, is a very good defensive player. Mm-hmm. Tatum isn't doing shit on offense, and Jaylen Brown is not doing much on defense. Jaylen Brown only scores. Like, neither one of them is doing that much. And to compare them to someone like Trae Young, who is like a singular juggernaut offensive player, scoring, efficient, assists, like he just does everything for that team. To look at two guys who are sort of generic wings who aren't having phenomenal years, like, come on, man. It's just bullshit. I mean, honestly, it's bullshit.
Well, Trae Young is a more interesting player. He's more entertaining. I think he is a bigger draw. And the two guys up in Boston are like two Anton Jamesons, and they're good. I think they're good, and they warrant being on this roster. But if you took them off, I wouldn't be surprised either. There's a lot of good players out there. To
be clear, Tatum does not deserve to be on the All-Star team at all.
I don't know. He's having obviously bias considered, media, who votes, all that stuff, but Tatum is good.
He's good.
I think he deserves. If you took him off, I wouldn't be surprised either. But when I saw his name, I'd be like, his numbers back that up.
I don't think either of their numbers back it up, and I think Jaylen Brown is a very good player. He's a really good scorer, but we're also in a time of severe offensive inflation, and we're comparing him to a guy who's better at scoring than he is, and is one of the best passers in the league, one of the best offensive creators. Look, one of those Celtics making it over Trae is kind of egregious, but both is just, come on, man, it's just dirtbag shit. Like,
just to go on the record,
I wouldn't care if it didn't matter for like bonuses. Like, they cheated Trae out of a couple $1,000,000.
I mean, I really like Trae, but just to go on the record, Tatum.
Thank you.
Tatum points, just like his average stats, 26, 5, and 7. Jaylen Brown, 26, 4, and 6. Like, that's not that bad.
I don't think they're bad.
Yeah.
One of them making the team is cool. But neither one should make it over Trey, and both of them making it over him is just, as I said, it's an atrocity. It's a crime.
If it was up to me, I'd put Trey over Jalen.
But either one. I mean, Trey is scoring more than both of them. He also averages 9.6 assists. Not to just be only like box score watching and stuff, but like, come on, man. I know he's a defensive liability, but again, their team is pretty good when he's on the court. All I know is,
I'd like to see him there.
If you were going to do like a hierarchy, Trey deserves it more than both. That still lets you put one of those Celtics on the team.
Yeah,
but
I think
both
that's
of them
reasonable.
over him is crazy.
I think at the time of the voting, I think the Celtics were maybe 500 or a game above 500. Now that they're a game below, a nail biter, an overtime loss, but that they should have won. But it really casts like a worse light on it. I agree with you. Like Trae Young should be there. I quite like these two All-Star teams, but for sure.
I mean, would you say that Tatum deserves it over Bam Adebayo? Like, to me,
I love Bam. I love Bam.
To me, like, definitely not.
I mean, the Heat also have been disappointing, and this is where the confusion is for me. Like, all these players should be on there, I think. Expand the rosters. But anyway, but then if you expand them, the next one who doesn't get in is going to be annoyed too. But I think people look at winning and losing too much, and a lot of the chatter is like, well, you asked Devin Booker to win games and not be such a stat hog, and now he's winning games and he's not on the All-Star team. And I'm like, well, he's having a very average season, and Chris Paul is the god. He steps onto that team and they're contenders all of a sudden. So having him on the All-Star team makes sense over Booker, in my opinion. Having Julius Randle
there's just no world in which Tatum has been better than Bam Adebayo this year. Just none. It's not there.
Yeah.
It just doesn't exist. That parallel universe, there isn't one.
If we're not doing advanced stats and we're just doing raw stats, normie stats, Bam Adebayo's 26 and 10, which is pretty good. But scoring, he's a full 7 points under Tatum. People love scoring.
No, this is true, and of course that's why Brown and Tatum are on the team, because people like scoring. Yeah. So without even getting into all of that, like, come on, Bam's efficiency is crazy. Tatum is below average. He's literally a below average scorer in terms of efficiency. Like, get out of here, man. Like,
I mean, I love
Tatum
Bam
is just
too.
Completely undeserving in comparison to Bam. It's just bullshit, dude.
I hear you. I mean,
I'm not saying he's a bad player.
Yeah.
I'm not saying or Brown is a bad player. They're good. They're good players. They just have not been that great in comparison to the guys who they've made the team over. And look, part of it is, reputation, but it's not like Jaylen Brown has some incredible reputation over Bam. It's not like, we got to put Jimmy Butler on the team. He didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Jimmy Butler's that popular. But, like, among
I'm more saying, like, past success from the bubble and whatnot, where we're just giving guys credit for being really good players. Like, How are these dudes from the Celtics getting the benefit of the doubt over guys who have been better than them? And guys who have been all-stars before, like, for example, Trae Young.
Yeah.
Well, we know why.
Yeah. I mean, there's a bias, and we have to do. I mean, I think Randle getting in is a bit of a New York bias. I don't think he should be in over Bam. I'm very pleased he's there because
we're on Randall's Island. Yeah,
we're on Randall's Island. New medal for life. But I love this debate because the rosters are too small and all these players are good. And I'm happy the coaches get to vote for the reserves because a lot of people on Twitter are like, take Simmons off of there. I'm like, no. Simmons, I think the coaches are like, Simmons is a starter, but you guys couldn't figure that out.
Yeah, I mean, Doc Rivers said when he was calling around to speak with other coaches and lobbying for Simmons and Harris, they were like, why are you lobbying for Simmons? Like, that's a lock, dude.
Yeah. I think he should be a starter. He got a late jump in the season to get his sea legs, but
I mean, to Doc's credit, he has to read and to speak with Philadelphia media, so he might have had the idea that there's a perception that Ben Simmons is like a monumental disappointment. But that's just being surrounded by Philadelphia media.
And being aware. Maury is on Twitter and just talking. Everyone knows Ben Simmons is hated, and Doc has gone out of his way to be like, he does everything you guys don't pay attention to. All you guys care is scoring. Like, I need that dude on the court. We're not the same team,
Yeah, again, I don't care who's actually an all-star or not. It's just that it's real money to these dudes. So it's that
it's tough,
is kind of that's the kind of what sticks in my craw. And thinking about, legacy down the line, X amount of time All-Star. People care about those things when they talk about who makes the Hall of Fame and who doesn't. And just some kind of literal bullshit, man. Like, there's just no reason these dudes on the Celtics would make it other than that they are Celtics over guys who are more deserving. Like, this might matter as to whether, like, Trae Young makes the Hall of Fame or not, or, like, Bam Adebayo. Like, kind of crazy.
Yeah, and this is, like, haunted a lot of players throughout history, and there's no right way to do this, right? Because these are all really good players. If you put Trae Young on and leave Bam out, I'm like, ooh, that's tough. I get it. Super tough, man.
And I also simultaneously don't think they should expand the rosters because these conversations are fun.
Oh, I love it. I love it. As soon as I used to hate it, now, like, as soon as these are announced, I'm like, this is what we do. This is great. But what do you think about
content for the pod?
What do you think about the West?
So, looks fine to me. A couple snubs was, Mike Conley really thought this was going to be his big year, and no one cared.
He works better like. Does he work better like the Boston Red Sox did as a loser? Because if he becomes an all-star, he's no longer the number one underrated player of all time. Everyone's like, Mike Conley's the most underrated player. I'm like, is he?
Yeah, like, I know you wanted to make the all-star, but it'd mess up your brand.
I mean, his brand is strong.
Good
I've seen that gym. That brand does not. That brand buys you that gym.
The big snub that people mentioned, and this sent NBA players into a furor, was Devin Booker being left off, and he may replace Anthony Davis because Davis is hurt.
He should not.
But Booker was the one that the players said, "This is egregious, an outrage." Booker, a walking bucket, a mobile vat, did not make the All-Star team. What did you think about the Booker exclusion?
I thought that was good. Booker's having a net zero kind of year. I think he's got a good brand, and he is propelled by that. And we're considering him as an all-star just because he's famous as hell, man. Like, he used to be, last season he was really good. This season, not so much. And I don't know. My guy was like, Brandon Ingram's kind of really fucking good, man. Like, I would almost like to have him on there if we're doing anything, but I think the team is nice. I think Zion Williamson is everything we had all hoped for, and I'm happy to see him on there.
Yeah, I get the arguments against Zion, but he's fucking cool, and this is an all-star game, so move on.
Yeah. He's also becoming the wrecking ball we wanted him to be. He is jamming his way into our hearts and my heart. And I think his unique kind of skill set and his smarts of attacking using that skill set and not worrying about anything else. He's also shooting free throws better. He's playing a little bit of defense. That dude is awesome. He's an all-star.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to say that scoring matters, right? This guy is averaging 25 a game.
Good enough.
And efficiency is just
that's what I care
it's just
about.
Fucking bonkers.
It's awesome. And,
and that's where he's kind of separate to me from guys like Booker or guys like Tatum. If we're just talking about volume scorers, like his true shooting percentage, his field goal percentage, his effective field goal percentage are just insane.
Yeah, he's good.
I don't know that he really deserves it, but it's hard not to look at someone who's been so uniquely amazing.
Yeah.
At scoring. I don't know. I get why people would be peeved, but what he's doing is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think so. And I'm just surprised that Booker's the name that people are pulling. And I know the Pelicans are not good. Like, they're winning more and more games, and they might eke into the playoffs. But Brandon Ingram's having a really good season, man. Oh, it's poor CJ McCollum. He was on his way.
Yeah, I mean, Zion's top 5 in field goal percentage while scoring 25 a game. That's impressive.
Yeah,
I don't want to be a hypocrite and be like, guys who do nothing but score. But, like, his scoring is really unique in a way that a lot of these guys aren't, because we have seen this inflation in terms of both scoring and efficiency that's put so many guys who are just kind of Jordan Clarksons into this category that we used to reserve for superstars. Like 24 a game at a true shooting percentage of 60. Oh, shit, man. That guy, that's Kevin Durant. That's LeBron. That's these guys. And there's a whole bunch of dudes. That's Randle.
Yeah,
You know, that's Tobias Harris. You know, there's a lot of these dudes in that vicinity of 20 and 60 that just was not the case even 5 years ago. But I will give Zion credit because like he's shooting 62% from the floor. Like,
He's awesome.
It's really crazy. But the Booker thing is worth discussing because I agree with you. He's not having a great season. He's another guy in that same vicinity, 20-some points a game, 60%, and doesn't do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But I also think NBA players are sympathetic to him because they know he's really good at basketball.
Yep.
Like they know he can give you 60, he can score 80, you know, whatever he did, 70, whatever his high game was. Like he can 70?
Yeah, maybe.
I think he hit 70.
Yeah.
But they just know he is really good at scoring, and you play against him, and he'll put
70.
numbers on your head. And
Yeah.
guys respect that. And which, again, it's a talent. This is the game. This is the industry. And anyone who has that ability is really unique. So when we look at the numbers and say, well, Booker's not creating like he did last year because Chris Paul handles playmaking duties, NBA players could rightfully say, well, that doesn't change who Booker is. You know, we know what he's capable of. We've seen him do it last year. We've seen him in the gym. I don't care if his assists are down because I know who he is. He is fundamentally this player, and like, I don't give a shit what his numbers do to reflect it because I know who he is inherently.
I can't do that just because there needs to be some rhyme and reason to it. If we go off of what a player could be, it's too confusing. But I see what you're saying, and I think Booker and other players get credit for that and have gotten credit for that. But as soon as
I'm
we
mostly
do, like,
trying to put myself in the position of an NBA player who knows him and has played against him, probably plays against him in the summer, you know, is familiar with his game. They're not necessarily going to say his assists are down, so he's not an all-star this season. They're going to say, I know Devin Booker. That guy gets buckets. He's really good. He's one of the best scorers in the league. Yeah, that's an all-star.
yeah, and I think a lot of people perceive Paul George the same way, just out of boredom, right? It's like, oh, he's on this team again. Why? I'm like, because he's one of the best players in the league every time he's healthy. But another question I had was, do you think there should be East and West? Should we just have like a conglomerate of players and then split them up? Because like we didn't mention Zach LaVine. That was something. One player I thought you were going to point out that maybe could have been subbed out for Trae Young.
I mean, I just have more sympathy for like one guy on a team.
Zach
You know,
LaVine's good.
you're having a great, almost historical scoring season. Yeah, you can rep it. But like, yeah, I mean, look, my Celtics beef is based on part of the reason their numbers are kind of inflated is that some of them have like missed time. Kemba was out. Like, they just like shot a ton, and they're good scorers, but like, they didn't do a lot of other stuff. Like when Tatum was out, you know, Brown took a ton of shots, and like when Kemba was out, you know, the other guy took a bunch of shots. Like they've kind of boosted their own numbers in some ways by like missing time and other teammates being out. So like Zach LaVine just kind of doing it every single day and putting up huge scoring numbers. He's not a disaster on defense. He's an okay playmaker. LaVine's having a really, really good year.
For sure. It's so interesting. I'm looking at the reserves now on the East. There's only like two interesting players there. The other guys are kind of like punch in, punch out guys, and I'm talking about Jaylen Brown, Zach LaVine, Julius Randle, Randall's Island shout out, Jason Tatum, and Vucevic. Those are kind of like your every night guys. But the two interesting guys are Harden and Simmons, right? And like I'm grateful for them, but also annoyed that there's so many duds on the East. And the West is different. I think the West is more dynamic in general. There's more star power, and these players are more interesting as players. But to your point, it's interesting that they put two Celtics on when they're like not really dynamic kinds of players, and to have one is okay. And to me, it has to be Tatum because like I think Tatum's a better player. But like
I think Tatum is a better player. I think Brown is a better scorer.
I love Jaylen Brown. I
like him. I like Brown a lot. He's really cool. Cool player to watch. I like his politics. He's smart as shit. I'm into Jaylen Brown.
He's good.
If he was the All-Star and Tatum wasn't, I'd be like, cool. If they reversed it, I would say what you just did. Well, I think Tatum's a little better. So even though he's not shooting that well, he's kind of a better player. Mm-hmm. My only grievance is both of them, while guys like Bam and Trey didn't make the team. To me, again, horseshit. It's just horseshit.
Those Bam and Trey are really, really good.
They're both having better seasons than both of the Celtics. Having them both excluded with the Boston guys on. Sorry, I'm getting caught up in it again. You just hate to see it.
I wanted them to leave Simmons off just for the chatter, you know. But Simmons is on, and it kind of squashed that. If Nate Duncan was like fire emoji, what a dunk, like we wouldn't be able to have this conversation, you know.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think the roster should stay the same because letting everyone in who's like having a pretty good year kind of takes the fun out of it.
Yeah, and Booker, I mean, that 70-point game, you're right, I checked. That's crazy for me to think about. In my mind, I keep on knocking him down notches. Like, it was only 50, wasn't it? But it was 70, and...
Put up 20 and 5? No big deal.
Yeah. Some Randle shit. I think people are trying to, like, kind of archive, like, their memories of Devin Booker being like, I decided he was great. Therefore, he should be an all-star. And when you look at his season, he's good. I mean, Jordan Clarkson might make a case over Booker this year.
But I also do understand the other perspective and say,
for sure,
he's not being asked to be the distributor that we know he can do to an extent that he's done over the last few seasons. And as a result, the team is experiencing more success. So, like, he's playing more of a team role that they want him to do. Are we going to knock him for that? I get it.
I know. Yeah, and okay, let me ask you this question. Watching Devin Booker last year being the guy, the usage guy, and then this year, and losing a ton of games. And then this year, kind of like still heavy usage, but it's Chris Paul's team. Is Devin Booker having a better season than last year?
That's kind of what I'm getting at, right?
Yeah.
You know, yes, he could put up better stats that we could look at and say, yeah, but look at his assist. He's more of a playmaker. Put him on the All-Star team. You know, they're 20 and 10. Yeah. You know, they're 20 and 10. They'd be leading the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
They are a good team. And obviously Chris Paul plays a big role in that. Jay Crowder, you know, they've added components. But it's hard to knock him for being on a much better team and scoring the same and being willing to take a step back in terms of creativity and playmaking in order to let Chris Paul run a team in the way that only Chris Paul can. So I'm very sympathetic to the Booker argument, even though I'm not an enormous Booker fan.
Yeah, and I feel that. And the reason I don't love on-off stats that much, I mean, they're very revealing, or plus-minus, is like we've not talked about Mikal Bridges that much, who has turned into like a very important part of that team, and the team doesn't work without him, and his season has helped contribute to those wins. Mm-hmm. And if we say Devin Booker's on a winning team, I'm like, well, yeah, Ayton's doing his thing. Ayton's the same, and they've discovered a true 3-and-D guy, and they are winning more games. And Booker is having, like, we're waiting for him to kind of find himself a little bit.
Or this is the ideal role for Booker.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Is, you know, being the team's leading scorer, being someone who you can get the ball to and get an ISO bucket every now and then, just generally be an efficient volume scorer for a team that doesn't have a ton of those guys. Mm-hmm. Suns have some odd numbers that I'm just trying to recall offhand. Like their defense, I believe, is like top 5 this season. But it's terrible when both Ayton and Booker are on the court together. Just some odd splits with that team. That when you take Ayton off, excuse me, and you put on a different center, defense is great. You took Booker off and you put on, you know, a better defensive wing player, and Ayton's on the court, defense is great again. Yeah. Could be a fluke. It was just something that I looked at a few weeks ago and was kind of stunned by an overall top 5 team. Their starting lineup had like terrible defense, but they made up for it by being phenomenal in different groupings. Anyway, I I guess my takeaway from that would be that Suns are a really dangerous team because if you put them in their optimized lineup when games matter, that team might be a contender.
Oh,
I know
yeah.
it sounds weird, but they might win. They might win a title. Like
Chris-
those numbers are weird, man.
I mean, talk about arbitrary notches. Like Chris Paul not having hardware. I said hardware. Not winning championships is like annoying, right? Because he's one of the best playoff performers we've ever seen, and he's thought of as a loser. And I think even at this age, him in the playoffs is like no team wants to play the Suns, right? But before we get too far away from the All-Star team, is this DeMar DeRozan erasure? Can we put some respect on DeMar DeRozan's name, who is having the best season of his career?
He's been great.
It's awesome, man.
The Spurs figured out how to use him. Mm-hmm. They moved into power forward for a lot of his minutes, and all of a sudden he's always able to beat his man off the dribble, still getting fouled a lot. Mm-hmm. His lack of shooting is not so pronounced, and he's actually making a couple threes here and there. I don't think that's really, the mitigating factor to his excellence, though.
He's going to the line per 36 7 times. He's shooting almost 90%. Like, I think you can make a case for him over Booker if you wanted to add another player. But there's fatigue with DeMar DeRozan, and San Antonio's not a big market, and we're tired of rewarding the Tony Parkers and Ginobili's, Ginobili's incredible. But, like, I think there's a fatigue there, and I feel bad for DeRozan, who I know feels bad about a lot of things.
DeRozan, I like that he's sort of figured out, how to be a modern star when he looked like the kind of prototype for someone who would have kind of faded into obscurity. Spurs get credit for figuring it out as well, because we sort of viewed him as a laughingstock, not in a bad way, but just as an obsolete player.
Yep.
Like, what are we doing? DeRozan, he can't really shoot. He's not a great defender. He's become a good ball handler. He can pass.
Yeah.
Putting him at the 4 is kind of a revelation offensively, and made his efficiency go through the roof.
Yeah. And
go ahead.
I'm sorry, to that point, like before we mock the Nate Duncans of the world, the effects of like this kind of statistical weirdness that we saw for the last 10 years is DeRozan, right? Julius Randle, Thaddeus Young. They're no longer prom kings.
Yeah. No, we've seen guys adapt their games a lot. And just overall, when you see these spikes in efficiency across the league, most of highest offensive rating league-wide in history, I think we're seeing this inflation that we're talking about. This is because guys have gotten so good at doing certain things, and it's been sorted, right?
Yeah.
That's even why the Milwaukee defense doesn't quite have the same impact that it did last year.
I love it. Yeah.
Because now it's like, okay, not everyone has to take threes, just the guys who are good at it. We're kind of off that shit where it's like, yeah, just chuck it up if you're open. They don't do that anymore. Teams don't do it. Guys take long twos, guys take short twos. Who can make them? There's been an optimization in terms of shot selection on a per player basis that I think is kind of different to how it was a few years ago, but almost probably mimics like the 90s in some ways.
Yeah, I agree.
Like Tobias, you're okay, 3-point shooter. You can make them, but that's not your bag. But we can make you efficient by spreading the court and letting you take a lot of twos in places that you can make 50%, 55%.
Yeah, and we've seen the opposite with someone like Buddy Hield, and I think DeMar DeRozan's name has been mentioned in some trade rumors coming up. And I would say, like, be very careful before you add, like, Zach LaVine or DeMar DeRozan, and who are amazing players who are being optimized right now, and, like, your expectations of them in a different situation. Because I don't think DeMar DeRozan works on every team. To your point, Popovich has figured out a way to make him this great, right? So, I don't know. I think context is so confusing, and we're not seeing DeMar DeRozan get better. He's always been this good. We're just seeing him in a better situation.
Yes, I agree. Only backtracking for 1 second on the Phoenix conversation.
Yeah.
Just because I
love
looked
Phoenix.
it up. Here's a really interesting thing. When Booker is on the court and Ayton is off, Ayton is their offensively skilled, defensively questionable, defensively sus center.
Could have been Luka.
When Booker's on and Ayton's off in about 220 minutes, which is not a ton, but not completely unsubstantial, they have the best point differential in the NBA at plus 20.7, and their defense is in the 96th percentile with a 103.2 rating. It's like there's something going on there with that combination of players that when you put them on the court together, and this is the kicker here, they've played about 700 minutes. Their defensive rating is 118.5 in the 11th percentile. That's really wild, but also something that a coach and GM and staff should be able to sort out.
Yeah.
Again, weird though, man. Weird. Elite defense with Ayton off the court. Horrific with them on it together. Weird.
Very weird. Confusing. And
Confusing.
certainly buyers at the deadline. There's been chatter. I want to talk about this. My guy Porzingis. There's chatter that he's on the trade block. What do you make of this?
I don't know who would trade for him.
Yo, how did this go so wrong? And he's still good though, right? His upside is still all-star. But the injuries and the risk of injuries is even getting Dallas shook, who just paid him not too long ago.
I think the problem with trading him is that Dallas knows him best.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to trade him? The guys who have seen him every day for the last 2 years?
Yeah.
The guys who committed to him as being the future of the franchise? You want to cut bait?
No, there's a redundancy. We have another unicorn here. Too many unicorns.
That's what I'm saying. So you're seeing something that is so unpalatable that you're just trying to get rid of him now?
I know.
No, thank you, sir. Absolutely not.
Yeah. It just makes me think of like how value just like it's like some GameStop stuff, because players are just so sought after. Like, remember when LaMarcus Aldridge was a free agent, the Knicks were courting him, everyone wanted him, and then as soon as someone got him, everyone's like, well, whatever, we didn't want him anyway. Kemba Walker, it's like, oh my god, Kemba Walker's going to Boston, and injuries and all that, but all of a sudden they're just like, is Kemba Walker the problem? I'm like, that's a fair question, you know. And it went really fast for KP in Dallas, but we've talked about this. Like, his injuries, you just had to consider them. But to play this hand this way, I feel like Cuban's smarter than this. There's something else going on, and it can't just be motivation, right?
You know, I disliked that trade when the Knicks did it. I didn't think it made sense. I didn't think the way they negotiated it or what they got in return were good.
Dennis Smith Jr. Yeah.
But, you know, in retrospect, Steve Mills.
The longest
view in the room. No, they did not do a good job extracting value for a player who had a lot of it. But
for sure.
One thing that you always mentioned in your concern was his injuries.
Yeah.
This was something you've always brought up.
Yeah.
And you were not someone like many Knicks fans who turned against KP because he didn't want to be here. Who would want he doesn't want to be in New York City. Fuck that guy. You were not like that. No. You were always concerned about his injuries.
Yes. And
that seems to be the case. You know, if you watch him, he does not move well.
I know.
Especially on defense. You know, he's always been like 7'2", 7'3". Like, there's always been a lot going on with his limbs and his knees and etc. But he doesn't move the way with Dallas that he did early in his career with the Knicks. He was a ferocious, effective rim protector.
Yep.
Now you see guys just kind of cruising around him pretty easily.
Dude, so easily. He's up right now. Like, we knew the lateral quickness would eventually run out, but it's running out. I guess this is predictable in a way, but seeing it happen is like disappointing. I'm still a super fan. I want him to be a perennial all-star, but like he's not the same player. And you're right. Like, if Dallas is giving up on him, like, what would you give up if there's rumors of the Lakers, that they could use him? But
I mean, anyone can use him theoretically, but it's also, are you willing to commit $35 million a year or whatever he costs to a guy who has not only missed a lot of time, but seems to have injuries that may be debilitating or not quickly going to heal? Like, when are you going to get $30 million of value out of him? Even if they say, just take him off our hands. Just take him. Give us a Randle. We'll be on our way. Like, would you take him back for the Knicks for nothing?
I'm not sure if I would, right? And I sort of see him almost as a similar idea to a second round pick. He will always, because of branding or whatever, he will always have value on the market. Not it's decreasing, but as the unicorn, I think if he goes to the Lakers for almost nothing, the Lakers can turn around this offseason and find another taker for him. He's that tantalizing, right? It's like, well, we'll give you nothing for him and just eat the money. It's like, okay. And I think he might get passed around the league like that for a long time.
I mean, he's not a bad player.
Oh, he's good. I mean, he's okay.
He's still giving you 20 and 8. He's 7 foot and can shoot. He blocks some shots. He's a good player. I'm just saying the concern about injuries and him being slower, I think that's just going to make anyone hesitant. You look at him being on court and off court. It's not just that the Mavs are lousy with him on the floor. They are 9 points worse with him on the floor than when he's off, like, within their team.
Yeah.
Like, he's kind of killing them.
I know.
And it's happening too much to, like, be something that you can't pay attention to.
And I am a proponent sometimes, very much so, of doing nothing and just letting Kevin Knox just play out his contract and just let him walk. But you need to do nothing with him. Sometimes you need to do something, and I think the Celtics need to do something with their two Jamesons, and now the Mavs need to do something with KP because he will be tantalizing forever, and this might be just exactly what he is.
I mean, I also look at what he's doing there and say, yeah, there might be some defensive limitations. That's true. But maybe they're also being amplified by defensive issues in Dallas overall. If you could put some more perimeter defenders around him, hide him a bit, and let him just kind of play drop coverage and try to swat some shots so he doesn't get isolated, on the perimeter ever. You can avoid that if you want to. You just scheme it. You're never going to be isolated on the perimeter against someone.
Yeah.
Whatever. Okay, that's just not happening.
Yeah.
You can avoid that, and then you use him as a pick and pop threat, catch some lobs. He can still be a valuable player. The question is, what is his value in comparison to, like, Boucher on the Raptors?
I love Boucher. I mean, yeah.
Really good
he's
player.
Unique, yeah.
Really good player, but if you're going to use KP like Boucher, do you want to pay KP $30+ million? That's the real question.
This is my whole Knox versus RJ thing. RJ's just going to be too expensive. They're kind of the same thing. I'm looking at KP's numbers. He looks like a max player, man.
I agree.
Like, his numbers are insane. I know his advanced numbers have never lived up to it, but he's averaging 22 and 8 with 1.6 blocks with great percentage, 47, 55, and 85. Yo, that is so good. Right.
No, I agree. But that's kind of what we're getting at here, right? What is his value? I think you're correct that someone wants this guy.
Yeah.
But I don't know that you get much back.
I know.
Like, I'll give you expiring contracts and, like, I don't know, a protected pick or two, but you're not getting a king's ransom for him. But he still is a good player. I think it goes back to what you just said. Mavericks are probably better off doing nothing.
Yeah.
Just let him continue to be good, sort out the lineups, try to get some better perimeter defenders, and see if you can build his value back up if you indeed don't think him and Doncic are a long-term fit.
God, I love that fit going into it, but
I still do.
Yeah, I know. Although, like, it's not even It's like watching those videos of biometrics guys being like, "Do you see his bow-leggedness? Like, this is not good. He's too tall." It's just bad luck because Mo Bamba has also been injured and he has kind of the same physical build, but he doesn't have those like bow legs. It's just bad luck.
Bo.
Should we talk about Brooklyn or save it for the next pod?
Let's save it for the next pod. You got to give the people something to like wait for. You know,
That Brooklyn talk.
that real Brooklyn talk. Is there room for Brooklyn on Randle Island? Find out next pod. Cookies.
I love cookies. I love cookies. I love cookies. I love cookies.